What's up, you guys? It's Adam here with Anabolic Climbing, and today, right before New Year's, I wanted to just sort of do a quick recap of the last 12 months of enhancement. The channel is a little over a year old, which has been a super fun time. I basically, about a year ago, went from being a half natty on HCG and carnitine to going straight up to the dark side, first with Anavar and then with Test. And I just kind of wanted to check in with you guys at the end of this year and just do a recap of everything we've tested, how it all went, some of the lessons we learned, some of the changes that I experienced in my climbing and in my physiology, and just talk about the channel a little bit and where we go from here. So if you guys like these kind of recaps and some of the experiments that I'm doing and how it's impacting the climbing community as a whole, please do not forget to hit the like, subscribe, and alert. Drop a comment. Helps the channel out tremendously. And yeah, let's hop into it. So first off, we're going to talk about some of the compounds that we tested, some experts we consulted. Obviously, we're going to have to touch on lattice, some of the pros we argued with, some blood work, and some partners. So all the stuff we tested Test, Masteron, Primobolan, Retta, MOTC, SLUPP332, HCG, Carnitine, Cialis, aka Tadalafil, Romacin and AI, GHKCU, some growth hormone, some BPC-157, and of course, some nandrolone phenylpropionate. So let's start going through the list and talk about them just very briefly. I'm sure you guys are familiar with some of this stuff, but let's just talk about whether or not I liked it. Test. Honestly, probably the most impactful compound that I took this year. I was almost positive it was going to be Anavar, but the moment I really started mutating was when I got on 150 to 200 milligrams of Test. That's when I grew the most. That's when I noticed the biggest increase in performance. And yeah, also just as far as overall quality of life, probably my number one. Really like Test, really glad that I opted to use that as the base for basically everything else. And yeah, obviously drove performance pretty tremendously. As far as holding on to lean tissue, both in a growing phase or a strength phase or in a deficit, testosterone is unmatched. And yeah, it will be a staple for the rest of my anabolic journey. I can't imagine me going back natty unless there are some severe health consequences. So yeah, I expect to be pinning Test for probably the rest of my life, and I'm honestly pretty stoked about it. It's a huge responsibility, but one I'm grateful to choose. Masteron. I'm actually going to do Masteron and Primo together next. I like Masteron a lot. Both of the DHT derivatives are unmatched at driving strength and also coordination. At some point or another, probably next year, I want to do a video on anabolics and skill acquisition because I think it's one of the topics that is most slept on by the community at large. But as far as driving neuromuscular adaptations and neurological adaptations for skills, really like Masteron a lot. Did I get a diuretic or hardening effect when I took it? A little bit. I didn't run it too high, but definitely enough that I noticed something. I definitely could tell the strength in the weight room and on my block pulls. I hit my PR on block pulls and my deadlift on Masteron. I don't think that's a surprise. I found personally, and this could just be anecdotal, my aggression in the weight room and on the wall, personally, and this could change over time, this is just what I sort of noticed, was higher on Masteron than on Primobolan. I really found that the fight in fight or flight really kicked in for me on Mast, and I love it. Easily one of my favorites as far as mental, although I also found Primobolan, I just sort of want to juxtapose it here, being more mild mentally. Definitely got less acne on Primo, and while I think that I might be getting a smidge of hair loss on Primo, not a lot, but like a little bit, it's still ultimately pretty darn benign. The reason I'm liking Primo over Mast in general is I don't need to run an AI when I take Primo. It's really good at controlling my E2. With Mast, I would still need an AI like once a week or twice a week to keep my E2 in check. But I like them both. I could see me running Primo for an off season and running Mast to peak, or I could see myself, if I'm really trying to push PRs, maybe use Mastro when I'm trying to peak. Either way, I like both of these compounds. They both have their place. I can use them somewhat interchangeably. They're very close, but they're both great. I like them a lot. Anavar. The peanut butter, or the jelly to my peanut butter. If Test is my steak, Anavar is my eggs. I fucking love Anavar, and you guys know that. It's outside of Test, it is the compound that I've run the longest. I will continue to run Anavar both for the neurological, or basically the neurological adaptations. For it basically helps with mind-muscle connection really, really well. Drives force production, collagen synthesis. There is a study right now, I want to say in the University of Southern California, on its ability to impact tendon repair and rotator cuff that I will be looking at very closely. First anabolic I ever took, and yeah, huge fan of Anavar. Retta. Retta is the reason the only thing I've eaten today is a protein bar, a 4x4 at In-N-Out, and some overnight oats, and I'm still not hungry. I have a protein shake and another protein bar that I need to eat. And yeah, as far as fat burners, Retta is king. Word on the street is, at least stateside, it's going to be a whole lot harder to acquire from the traditional peptide websites next year because Eli Lilly is cracking down, and I don't blame them. Everyone has made a gazillion dollars off of Retta except for them, and it's their patent. But best believe that Retta is the king of fat burners, and anyone who tells you differently is either ignorant or lying to you. Amazing appetite. Excuse me. A little bit sick. Amazing appetite control, particularly for climbers. It's not as strong as semaglutide or tirzepatide, but it doesn't need to be. Our hunger suppression doesn't need to be that high. We don't eat enough as is. And the added benefits from the glucagon agonist are bananas. Every time I leverage this compound, I just lean out super well. And I think this is about as S-tier a compound as you can get outside of testosterone. It is just unmatched. L-carnitine. Personal favorite. I don't know if other folks will like it as much as me, and that's fine. Really good for me for energy. Not really for like performance enhancing. It's got like a slight fat burning context, but you know, it was pinning carnitine was the first time I wasn't feeling chronically fatigued. And it was one of the first things that I pinned where I'm like, oh, yeah, this is good. In the event that someone wanted to start a enhancement journey, I'm a huge proponent of testing with L-carnitine because A, you can pin something that has a lot of volume. B, it won't shut down your HPTA, and it's super benign. It's a great first starter to see if pinning oil is a thing you could tolerate. Tadalafil, aka Cialis, awesome, tons of fun, WADA approved. Great pumps in the gym, great pumps in the bedroom. All in all, great time. HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin. I took this as a fertility medication initially when my wife and I were working for a kid. And I hadn't tried Test the first time I used HCG. And did it give me like really noticeable body recomp? Not really. Did it give me really increased progress in the gym? Not so much. Did it make my sex drive go absolutely insane? Yes. Even when I had COVID, I was insatiable. It was pretty wild. Yeah, I'm not going to go into too many details, but oof, yeah, HCG is pretty bananas as far as upregulating sex drive. It will increase your endogenous test too without shutting down your HPTA. Amazing in a post-cycle therapy context. In the event that I ever had to come off test, I would be leveraging HCG immediately to make my balls work again. So definitely a little bit smaller at this point. But yeah, all in all, great compound. Aromacin, it's an AI, aromatase inhibitor. Great for helping prevent gyno and keeping my estradiol in range. It's great. Not really a performance driver, more of an ancillary. GHK copper. Easily the most painful thing I pinned. I'm going to be doing a deep dive into GHK copper probably later this week because it's really, really interesting. Didn't get a huge performance benefit out of it, but and easily the most painful thing I pinned it in my forearms sub-Q, and it literally burnt from the inside out for like 24 hours. It fucking hurt so bad. I don't think I'm going to pin it again. Like I said, it deserves its own video, but probably not something I'm going to run again, at least not as an injectable. NPP, short experiment. Glad I ran it. I don't think it has a place for climbers, but I'm glad that I tried it. PPC 157 helped with my tendinopathitis. Didn't repair things that needed surgery, but I definitely feel less injured, or I haven't. The nagging injuries that I had accrued are better having taken PPC 157. Glad I ran it. Will run it again. Growth hormone. Growth hormone is such a weird compound to me. I have tried it off and on. Excuse me, man, it's cold. So growth hormone I have run off and on this entire year. And the more I run it, the more I can tolerate it. Initially, particularly in growing phases, I would have a lot of issues with the numbness in my hands, with finger swelling. But at least in a calorie deficit, I seem to be able to tolerate 3 IUs just fine. And it's definitely something that I appreciate from a fat burning and muscle building context. It's the only compound that can drive positive tendon remodeling and supraphysiological levels of collagen synthesis. I think for recomping, and potentially if you can tolerate it for a bulk, it's probably a uniquely special tool that will be leveraged by climbers for generations to come. That said, it is not a peaking compound. This is not something like a Masteron or a Primo or an Anavar that will push you to that next level. It's simply a force multiplier to your other anabolics. Lastly, and I think this is worth noting, the main difference in this weight cut versus my last weight cut is growth hormone. And the difference on the scale is extraordinarily noticeable. My first weight cut, I was losing around 3 pounds a week. And on this weight cut, where I included 3 IUs a week of growth hormone, I lost about 3 or 4 pounds relatively quickly. And then I hard stalled for about 2.5 weeks since introducing growth hormone. My weight has not moved. I have gotten leaner, but instead of just dropping weight, I'm recomping. I'm building muscle building muscle while losing fat in an extremely deep calorie deficit. And yeah, that's growth hormone. Part of that's water retention. Part of that is just building additional tissue. My legs are definitely bigger, and I'll show you pictures later. I'm looking a lot harder. But yeah, GH is super potent. I'm really curious to see its impact on my tendons going in the next year. It's going to be super fun. I also have more than enough GH. Shout out to my friends in China. So next year is going to be a ton of fun. So let's talk about all of the folks that I had a chance to consult and have discussions with and pick their brains on compound selections. And I'll give you a little bit of feedback. I should have done some more stuff in the bios here, but that's fine. So far and away, the most spot-on guy that I spoke to when I was talking about, or when he was interjecting and rather like extrapolating about what PEDs would be best for climbers, the two best were easily Kurt and Colton. Kurt said out of the gate the GH was going to be the thing to discuss. He was like, DECA could go either way, but he thought potentially with the GH that it could be potentially useful. But as far as understanding what the total anabolic load was going to be and what was going to be optimal, Kurt put me in a really good direction for success. And Colton also, as far as giving me suggestions on how to track labs, peptides that would potentially be useful for one of the earlier proponents of MOTS-C. Yeah, definitely one of... I could not have done this without Colton or Kurt. Colton for a couple of reasons, but yeah, without some of their guidance and putting me in the right direction, I don't think I could have like, I obviously could have taken drugs, but I don't think I could have been as successful out of the box without some of their information and guidance to get me from point A to point B. Dr. Todd was an interesting conversation. He had some really interesting thoughts on Tren, Halo. We had a discussion about EQ and collagen synthesis, but the best thing that he taught me, and I'll always appreciate that, is N equals 1. If something works for you, then it works for you, and that's okay, and you can continue to leverage that compound or that tactic. Todd's dope for that. The dude loves Masteron more than I love my dogs, which is saying something. But, and I wouldn't take everything he says to the bank, but really interesting guy. And Phil Viz, we had great discussions over Anavar, GH, and a couple of other things. And he loves rock climbers. I didn't realize he absolutely loved Free Solo and the Alpinist and a whole bunch of other stuff. Phil Viz is cool people. I'm glad he checked in with us. Obviously, we need to talk about Lattice. Number one driver of stuff to my channel. But yeah, not for nothing, it put me on the radar to the entire climbing community that if we want to discuss PEDs, this is the place that we do it. And I'm extraordinarily grateful for them for hosting me on their platform, talking to me for 90 minutes. It obviously didn't work out the way that both of us wanted to, but the year, I would be remiss not to mention them this year for them putting me on, having the discussion, and even if they couldn't extrapolate my thoughts correctly, I will always be grateful to them for the opportunity. To Josh, Ollie, Tom, everyone over there, appreciate you immensely. And also, this has not been the easiest year of my life, but like, I cackled like a fucking hyena, man. Seeing fellow climbing's memes and all the stuff on Climbing Circle Jerk on Reddit, I was in tears, man. That shit was super funny. Some of the memes were incredible. And yeah, I also think that the UK climbing scene, I'm probably the most infamous steroid enthusiast climber, which is hilarious to me because the origins of PEDs in the modern era actually come out of the UK, funny enough. So shout out to Doping for Climbers. You guys should check him out. Really good writer and also a guy that runs experiments like myself side by side. Definitely a dude worth checking out. But we spoke back and forth a few times, and I'm also extremely grateful to him as well. He was the one that really instilled on me that you can't take bro science to the bank. You got to double check it yourself and double check everything I say as well. He dopes climbers out there. Really smart guy. We don't agree on everything, but I know why he does what he does, and I respect him in his opinion a lot. We argued with pros, and they found out I was right. God, I had more blood tests this year on myself than Sam Watson has had for blood tests in his entire career as an Olympian, which is fucking unhinged. But a super cool dude, and obviously a world record holder and the fastest man alive. We had discussions with both Kira Condi and Louise Flockhart about drug testing and ethics around PEDs. And even though Natasha and I don't see eye to eye on PEDs, and we're both huge advocates for strength training for climbers. She's also a dope powerlifter, and she's doing her first bodybuilding show and an incredible climbing coach. I highly encourage that you check out our girl Natasha. I also want to give a shout out to Camp 4 Human Performance. We don't always agree on all of the training styles, but I do occasionally write articles for them as well now. So I really appreciate Tyler and his group for giving me a place to spread my ideas around PEDs and rock climbing. It means a lot. It really does. As far as labs, I lowered my A1C out of the pre-diabetic range. I kept my liver enzymes in range despite running ANFR for 9 fucking months. My red blood cell count popped up from 49 to 55, so I dropped off a pint over at the blood bank, so that was cool. Never let my E2 get out of control or get gyno. Lowered my LDL from 121 to 90, and managed my blood pressure, keeping that in range. That is a goddamn win. And hell, I even picked up a couple of partners working on getting some links for NutriCost, Anabolic Insights, code climbing. Please check them out. If you want to buy Rangni, you can use code anabolic for 10% off. And as far as C4 or for Camp 4 Human Performance, I write for them now. I'm working on a certification for them for coaching. So hopefully next year that is a thing that I will also be able to do as well. Again, shout out to Tyler. Shout out to the folks over at Anabolic Insights for some of the cheapest blood work in the game that you can order on demand. Those guys are saving lives, and I'm super, super appreciative to have them as a partner. And I use them for my labs. And last, I want to thank each and every one of you. There are more people that support this channel and support this project in general. But I want to just mention Antituarek, German doctor. I love this dude. He was literally one of the first guys that I've had to mention or to find my channel last year. I was super grateful for him sticking around this entire time. Average Team Kid, thank you so much for your ethics on PEDs for youth climbers. Toilet Paper Tendons, my arm wrestling brother from another mother, cheering for you on all of your UK comps. A non-climber, Billy for Talent, Thomas, Iconocrest, Lanead, Ethan, JD. I'm really grateful for the community that has come around this project and you guys' willingness to experiment, ask questions, be thoughtful, be curious, and also be responsible. I feel like in a world where people are just hucking peptides left and right and not giving a full understanding of all the things that are happening here, I think we're creating a really responsible community and of also some fucking savage climbers. There's a lot of double-digit climbers in the Discord, and I am grateful to have given you guys a place to rally around so that and also to share your training footage and protocols. Like, I really like what we're creating. I'm super humbled and super grateful. This is something that I wanted to build for a while, and I'm touched that it's coming together. Like, genuinely makes me so happy. So, on top of that, there were also some improvements to, just stuff in general. On a personal note, I was able to...
I got 99 problems, but...
Oh, don't want to get that, have issue, or I don't want that to have any issues with, copyright. Was able to nail my first V6 on the kilter boards and my second. Not only that, I was able to get my first muscle up over the course of the year. Deadlifting wise, was able to pull 405, squat 315, get my first one arm pull up. Like, could I have done more in 1 year of being enhanced? Yeah, obviously. I trained relatively hard, have pretty average genetics. But, like, the short answer is this is how we started. 12 months ago, this is where we were at. And this is where we are today. Like, I am extraordinarily happy with the changes of 1 year, both in terms of differences in strength, differences in performance, differences in aesthetic. I mutated this year and couldn't be happier or more grateful for the outcome, especially since we kept labs in check the whole time. This guy has better blood work than that guy. Bananas. And for context, this was me doing a show, or Jay Cutler's show, when I was natty in, I think, like 2011. And yeah, I'm looking just as good, if not a little bit better now, almost double the age. So just trying to age like wine and not age like milk. With that said, what's going on next year? Next year, there's a whole group of other compounds to test. We're going to go out the font and see if we could send Rainbow Rocket. By the way, could I have made more progress grade-wise? Yes. The reason I didn't was because I prioritized strength because I need to jump higher for Rainbow Rocket. I think that guys will come after me and put my results to shame, both because they train harder, because they train smarter. The protocols will be more refined. They will have a higher starting point than me. And they'll be more dedicated to pushing grades rather than trying to skip something for a specific project. That's my thought. I also hope that some of the research and experimenting that we do ends up in pushing additional grades. If someone dopes to get to V19 or even to just repeat V16, 17, I'd be fucking stoked. And yeah, I think we're doing something really, I'm a little biased, but I think something special is happening here, and I'm thinking and people are starting to notice, and I'm just incredibly grateful. Anyways, next year is going to go crazy. Next year is going to be a lot of fun, both in terms of the things we're going to learn about pharmacology, the things we're going to learn about climbing, and we're going to keep leading the revolution toward the chemical warfare era of climbing. But again, thanks for sticking around with me while my voice is kind of shot. Thanks for hanging out with me all year. This is a project I've wanted to do for 20 years. This is literally from the first month that I was climbing, I knew I was going to do PEDs and climb. I just didn't know how to do it. And now I assume the book would have been written on how to do this by now. It's kind of wild that at least in North America, I'm one of the ones that's writing it. So stick around for the process to refine itself, and I'll see you guys soon. Good luck, guys. Be safe and happy sending. Drop a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.